Yeah, the next comic coming up, a good friend of mine, really, really funny guy. You guys are in for a treat. Guys, put your hands together. Bill Lackner.
All right. You guys enjoying yourself so far? Good deal. Good deal. You know, I got to admit, I got to tell you a little bit about myself. For 18 years, I was a firefighter, and I've got to confess, women make better firefighters than we do. You know, and the reason I say that is they're expert extricationists. Think about it, ladies. How many times, I think ladies spend 80% of their time helping men get their foot out of their mouth or their head out of their ass. Am I right? Yeah. You know, we live in a me. I'm glad somebody liked it. We live in a me society. Everybody's looking for instant self-gratification. But you're not going to catch me up here blowing my own horn. Number one, I don't believe in it. Number two, what do I look like, a freaking contortionist? My buddy and I were talking about sports and sex the other day. All right, a little bit more about sex. You know, and we got to talking, and he confided in me. He said, Bill, I haven't heard my wife scream during sex in a very long time. Then he paused for a minute. He said, well, that's if you don't count last Thursday, when she walked in on her best friend and I doing it on the kitchen table. Come to think of it, I haven't heard her scream like that in a long time either. Ladies, got to ask you a question. How many of you ladies have ever dated a guy that was good looking, had money, had a great education, but didn't have the common sense God gave a jackass? Anybody? If not, please, come see me after the show. Please. You know, I got to tell you, I had some anger issues a couple of years ago. And I went to this doctor. He said, he wanted me to have this operation that he said would eliminate my anger issues almost immediately. Okay, I'm curious. I got to ask, Doc, what kind of a miracle surgery is going to do that for me? He said, it's called an optorectomy. Opto what to me? He said, an optorectomy. He says, that's where we sever the nerve from your eye to your ass to get rid of your shitty outlook on life. You know, last year for my wife's birthday, I asked her, I said, honey, what would you like for your birthday? You can have anything you want. She said, nothing. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been married almost 20 years. I wasn't falling for that. Again. I was going to make this the best birthday she ever had. So that night, I was taking her out and I was going to treat her just like royalty. And I did. Treated her just like royalty. Took her to Burger King for dinner and Dairy Queen for dessert. I went and I saw my psychologist this week and oh, thank you. Somebody that knows me. I went and saw my psychologist this week, and he gave me some really sound advice. He said, honey, therein lies the problem in the psychologist, okay? No, he went and he told me, he said, you know, you've got to stop taking your anger to bed with you. I said, Doc, I can't. She won't sleep alone. Went to my dentist, and we got into some small talk, and I asked him, I said, so how long have you been practicing? He said, 8 years. I said, great. What'd you do before that? He said, I was a proctologist. He said, no, it's cool. It's cool. I had to give that up. He said, I got tired of dealing with assholes all the time. Folks, the only thing worse than your doctor telling you that you've got VD is your dentist telling you. Speaking of diseases, let's talk about my ex-wife for a minute. The day I married my ex-wife, that evening, I went and I asked her, I said, honey, am I your first? And she looked at me, gently touched my cheek, and said, why does everybody ask me that question? I don't know. We were walking through Kmart one day, and an announcement came over the PA. Attention Kmart shoppers, all women's clothes half off. Well, hell, that's all my ex-wife had to hear. 30 seconds later, up comes the top and the bra. I had a good sense of family when I went and I married my ex-wife. I sensed they hated my guts, and I was pretty much on the money. One year for my birthday, I got life insurance policy, a cemetery plot, and unlimited skydiving lessons. Parachute optional. My ex-wife was a little bit slow, though, if you know what I mean. We were walking through Central Park one day, and I said, honey, look at the dead pigeon. She took off her glasses, looked up, and said, where? I said, slow. Anyway, guys, you'll be glad to know I met the girl of my dreams the other day. She was a nympho.
Yeah!
Yes! Let's hear it for the nymphos. Any in the room? Sir, I don't think so. Anyway, I met this nympho, and as luck would have it, she had a kidney infection. So all that night, she kept coming and going and coming and going and coming and going. All right, guys, we get 5 minutes up here, and I just wondered, if we began to leave early, is that considered premature ejaculation? My buddy Doug, let me bring him up. Him and his girlfriend went out to Vegas last week and got married. About 2 o'clock that morning, she rolls over and Doug's not there. So she pops out of bed. She puts on her bunny slippers and she throws on a robe. She's going down to the casino to look for him. And she gets down there, she looks for a moment, she looks to the left, looks to the right, and sees him over at the crap table. So she heads on over there. Big old, grabs him by the arm, whips him around, looks him in the eye, and says, I've only got one thing to tell you. I've seen you in bed, and if I were you, I wouldn't bet on the cum line. All right. With that, I will go, and I'll leave you with a parting thought. We live in the richest country in the world, okay? And 9 million people tonight are going to bed hungry. 9 million people are going to bed hungry in one of the most prosperous, in one of the prosperous countries in the world. Damn Jenny Craig. Ladies and gentlemen, that's my set. I appreciate your applause. Thank you very much. And let's get on with the show. Jimmy?
Bill Lackner.